These are the top 10 tips if you're going to fly in Cornwall, or for that instance, anywhere else. Thanks for watching, and I'm going to add some footage of some amazing places in Cornwall I've got some footage of at the end of this video. I'll also do a rundown of some suggested top places. Please remember, this isn't legal advice. Now, I'm an A2 CFC and GVC remote pilot, and this is how I might approach things, but really it is for you to make the decision yourself and work out if it's feasible to fly in a particular place. Just because I've made a suggestion that I would like to fly there doesn't mean that you should fly there. Doesn't mean it's feasible or it's allowed. So you need to make your own decision. There's another channel on YouTube called Black Belt Barrister who's very good, and he's made a few videos about drones and about what you can do legally and what you can't. And I'll point you to his channel at the end. So watch out for that card at the end of this video. A really simple one, just batteries and chargers. Make sure you've got all your kit in your bag, including your batteries, including your charger. And once you've done your planning, I would only suggest you charge your batteries the night before you go out to fly, because you don't want to leave those batteries fully charged, because if you do, they'll degrade over time. So remember, batteries, charger, and don't charge them until you're ready to go. Next tip is SD card. I mean, another simple one, but you wouldn't believe what sort of idiot would walk halfway around Derwent Water with a drone with no SD card in it. Yeah, that was me. And it led to me having to fly from a boat. I did a video on that actually that I'll put in the description here somewhere. So that's well worth a watch. But yeah, always remember your SD card, and plenty of them, because if you are out for a week on holiday with no laptop, you want plenty of SD cards, because then at least you can save the footage you've got and not fly your drone with all the footage on it. If you were to lose your drone and all your footage, how bad would you feel having done loads of decent footage and lost it on the SD card? So lots of SD cards. Check the forecast. So in your planning stage, check the forecast. So it might be the night before. I use a couple of apps. I use UAV Forecast, which I find really useful as a forecast app, because it gives you the wind speed at different heights. But I also use the Met Office, and that's also very good, as well as something like called Golden Hour, which is, it gives you an idea on what the sunrise and sunset will look like, and BBC Weather, and even rain radar. It's all useful information, but remember, it is a forecast, and if you get to a place and the wind said it's going to be 50 miles an hour and it's not, then you need to make your own decision. But equally, if you get there and the wind says it's going to be 10 miles an hour and it's gusting at 50 miles an hour, make your own decision, yeah? Because it's just a forecast. It's always the conditions on site that really trump any forecast. So I'll try and avoid sites of special scientific interest, or SSIs, and nature reserves. It isn't necessarily an offence to fly in these areas, but disturbing wildlife can be an offence. So please be careful if you're going to fly in such areas. And lots of Cornwall is either a nature reserve or a site of special scientific interest. So you need to be thinking about that. Don't block pathways. There's lots of amazing coastal pathways around the UK, but especially around Cornwall. And just remember that you can't block these pathways. So if you are flying from a pathway, which you shouldn't really be doing, and you need to bring it into land, then that would cause an issue, because you might have uninvolved people near you, and you wouldn't want to be affecting uninvolved people or breaking the drone code. Think about the area around you and whether it's feasible to fly there or not. We're nearly halfway through the video and we've got some top tips still to come. If you find this useful, please hit the subscribe button and the little bell icon and the thumbs up, and leave a comment to which video you think I should do next. I'm going to probably add an individual video for each of these sites I've looked at or flown. So if you subscribe to the channel, you'll get to see those as well. Follow the drone code. Now, I'm not being drone police, but if you are not following a drone code, as in if your separation distances are not maintained and you fly really close to people, you're going to draw a lot of attention to yourself and the drone community in general. So we want to be seen as responsible people who don't upset and endanger other people. So please follow that code. And if you do that, then nobody should really even know you're flying there. There's lots of National Trust land and English heritage properties around UK. Now they have a blanket ban on drones. I see in some respects why they do it. They want to make sure that everybody visiting their sites is safe and not going to be affected by drones, not annoyed by them. They also need to be protecting the wildlife on their sites and the property itself, you know, because some of these properties are very old and very, very expensive to maintain. Some areas I do understand, but in some instances when you've got a coastal path that is miles from nowhere, there's nobody on it, there's no real chance of risk or damage to anything or anybody, I really find it difficult to understand. But it'd be nice if they were a little bit more common sense and a little bit more accommodating. To help this, it's probably best we don't go annoying them. So just be considerate where you fly and when you fly. I'll put a link to a map for both the English Heritage and National Trust land in this description, so at least you can see where National Trust land is. I'll also put a link to the Crown Estate map, and sometimes you can fly between high water and low water, but that's just sometimes. There's actually not much Crown Estate in Cornwall, having looked. Finding the right place. So again, kind of obvious, if you choose to fly in an area, then you want to make sure that you are away from people, because the last thing you want to do is attract attention. It's really the takeoff and landing which is the most vital or critical time. So if you can take off and land, you can often fly out and away from sites, but you really get good video footage of it or good pictures. And for me, I'm always interested in the footage from a distance and not from overhead. So finding the right place and looking at the maps, often you can find little niches of land that are public spaces but not owned by National Trust English Heritage, and often there's good places to fly. It's always worth checking out the maps and finding those little parcels of land. Getting there at the right time. Again, it's kind of common sense really, but if you turn up to an area at midday when there's 1,000 people about, you've got no chance of flying. If you get to an area at sunrise when there's nobody about, firstly, there's nobody to really cause any damage to, but there's also nobody there who's actually going to tell you you can't do it. Use your common sense and get there at a time when there's going to be less people about. Use the Drone Assist app by Altitude Angel. Now, I don't know how many times on this channel I've said don't trust the DJI maps. And I had an instance actually last week. The DJI app and their maps nearly cost me my drone. Now, I'll make a video about that and obviously subscribe and see that, but that was kind of a scary situation. And it's basically down to the DJI apps not being up to date and not following UK rules and UK airspace. Use the Drone Assist app to plan where you're going to fly, and if the area you want to fly actually is in a flight restricted zone, it's not impossible to fly. I actually did a video about how to get permission to fly in a flight restricted zone, and again I'll put that in the description. Always follow the Drone Assist app for UK airspace, because even if you can find a parcel of land that's you know, you can take off and land from, doesn't mean you can fly there. You need to be sure that you're not breaking the law, not just breaking rules, but not breaking the law. If you're finding this useful, please hit the subscribe button. And now let's show you some top places I think it'll be amazing to fly in Cornwall. So we've got Land's End, which is actually privately owned. It borders National Trust land, but it's privately owned. And if you get there at the right time, there's not that many people there. You can walk to it from a public pathway. It's amazing. Obviously, it's going to be very windy there, potentially. And watch out for seals and things. You don't want to get too close to the cliffs or water. But it could be an amazing place. The Lizard Peninsula and Lizard Point. So this is mostly owned by National Trust. I'm sure if you really look, you'll find a little parcel of land there. Maybe you could take off and land from. There's no flight restriction zone there at the moment. But again, don't overfly anybody there. Keep the drone out across the sea, and I'm sure you can get some amazing footage and, you know, not affect anybody. Porthcurno. So this is just around from the Minack Theatre, and it's a little beach and some rocks. Again, it's not in a flight restricted area according to the Drone Assist app, but DJI thinks differently. But yeah, it's a lovely beach there, and if you keep your distance, you might even get some shots of Minack Theatre, but which is an amazing kind of cliffside site. So that's an amazing place as well. Perranporth. So Perranporth is very much a massive beach when the tide goes out, but there's lots of rocks there, massive area. Surfers seem to like it there as well. There was lots of surfers there on the day that I was there, and again, it can make some really interesting footage. St Ives. So St Ives, both when the sea is in and when it's out, looks amazing. There's lots of places, I think, to fly from there. It's not in a flight restricted area at the moment, and really worth a look. Some really pretty beautiful pictures, but don't go flying over houses. Keep the drone out over the sea so you're not affecting people. Kynance Cove. There's some amazing scenery there. It's an amazing little place, but it is in a flight restricted zone. You need permission to fly there. So I do have a link in the description for my video showing you how to get permission to fly in the airspace. Godrevy Lighthouse actually is an amazing place as well. There's lots of wildlife there, so be aware of that. And it's also on National Trust land, most of it, but it looks amazing. It's about 200 meters from the shoreline, the lighthouse, and a really pretty site. Bedruthan Steps is one of the most stunning coastlines I think I've ever seen. And looking at it from above, you can actually look at it from the cliffs. You can almost get a drone's eye view there anyway. But if you see it just as the tide is turning, it can be just stunning. And you know, lots of birds there, and obviously seals, so watch out. But it's a beautiful place and definitely worth a visit. And the top one on the list is actually St Michael's Mount. So I think this is one of the top 10 places probably in the UK to actually get some footage of. Now again, it is in a flight restricted zone, I think of Penzance heliport, so you'd need permission to fly there, which you can get. I didn't fly there, but I think if you had a nice distance shot, didn't fly over the mount, you wouldn't get too many problems, assuming you got permission to fly in the airspace. And what an amazing site it is. I mean, you see it actually when you're driving up to it. There's this massive kind of mound. You see it from miles around, and it's really, will make a really pretty drone video actually. Thanks for watching, and please hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you again next time. If I get enough interest, I'll actually make a video about each of those individual sites that I've mentioned here. So thanks for watching. See you next time.